Hey there guys, this is Reckles with WTBGold, and today we're talking about what is probably one of the most important gold making nerfs we've seen in at least 5 years. Today's video was supposed to be about vendor flips and how good they are, but unfortunately, as of yesterday, Blizzard has nerfed vendor flips and how good they are, so we get to do a little multitasking. But for those of you who are new to gold making and weren't aware of, don't know what I mean when I'm talking about price floors or any of that, let's just cover the basics real quick. So, every item in the game has a vendor price. So here, Shrouded Cloth Mittens, vendor price about 25 gold. Shrouded Cloth Belt, vendor price 25.75. So each of these use 5 Shrouded Cloth and 3 thread. So this one is a better bang for your buck. You take that 25 gold, you subtract out the cost of the thread, and then you divide that by how many cloth it takes, and that gives you the value of the cloth for that craft. So then you just go through each item and you find the thing that vendors for the most. Here it uses 5 cloth and 4 thread, and it vendors for 37 gold. The Shrouded Cloth Cape, up until yesterday, used 4 cloth and 1 thread, and vendored for 37 gold. So until yesterday, that 1 thread was worth 5 gold a piece. With max rep, you could get it for 4 gold. So it was 33 gold profit when you vendor it, required 4 cloth. And so that meant each cloth was worth a little over 8 gold a piece. Want to see something funny? Here's Una, the rare pet. If you have the flaming hoop, she'll jump through it. And every once in a while, she'll light herself on fire. All right, so here is my fancy smanchy little spreadsheet, and I was really excited to share this with you all, but it doesn't have a whole lot of a purpose anymore. I'll share it. I'll put it up on Patreon. I'm putting all my TSM ramblings and all of my in-progress spreadsheets up there, so I'll throw it up for there if you want to play around with it. But what we're doing essentially, if Pallid Bone is 10 gold a piece, and if you can get Twilight Bark for 5 gold, and let's say you would get your thread for 5 gold, or let's say you're friendly and you get it for 4.75, then here are your price floors. You've got cloth at 8 gold and 4 silver if you make the cape. You've got 8 gold price floor on leather if you make the crossbow right up here. And you've got 11 gold, 30 silver floor on Lystrite if you make the Int dagger right down here for 5 Lystrite and 3 flux. So what's the big deal? What's going on? The nerf that just went out essentially says that they've drastically increased, they've adjusted how many vendor materials are used on a lot of these items, and they've also made the price of the thread, flux, wax, wire, vials, all of the vendor materials that used to cost 5 gold now cost 9 gold. So what that means is the green highlight areas are the new things. So if let's say you get honored, and long term, you know what? Let's just talk long term here. I'm expecting Pallid Bone to be about 2 gold long term. You can get Twilight Bark from the vendor for 50 silver, so eventually people will stockpile that. The vendor floor of the cloth went from 8 gold a piece making the back to 2 gold a piece making the back. We had a price floor of between 4 gold and 8 gold a piece. And after the nerf, the price floor is everything is less than 2 gold. Over here, we had a price floor for leather of between 2 gold and 13 gold. I think if you consider Pallid Bone free, It's yeah, pallid bone free, and if that's for, there we go. The price of leather long term was looking at about 16 gold a piece. And for the blacksmithing stuff, it's gone from 3 to 8 gold, or 3 to 12 gold a piece, down to everything's under 4 gold. But there's some interesting things we can learn looking at the nerf. Some people have said that this is Blizz shifting around the price floor, lowering the price floor. Other people have said it's just Blizz putting in a gold sink, and that's all it is. And I propose this is Blizzard not worried about a price sink, but specifically trying to adjust the price floor. And here's where we can figure that out. So for tailoring, all of these added 3 thread, and these added 2. That long term brings everything down to 2 gold or less. If the hands and waist had been, if this had just been 2 and that had been 2, then these would have been over 2 gold. Those would have been the most expensive. So they over nerfed the hands and waists a little bit in order to keep everything under 2 gold. With leatherworking, we can see that they put some thought into this as well, because the shoulders, head, waist, and feet all had a 1 thread increase, whereas the legs and chest had a 2 thread increase, and that's the same in both leather and mail. Legs and chest had a 2 thread, and there wasn't an increase for hands and wrist, hands and wrist. They didn't just put a blanket, 2 thread increase, let's just get more gold out of them. They're trying to they're trying to make it make sense for each individual slot. But we can go one step further with blacksmithing, and for blacksmithing, these up here are the let's bold it. These up here are the armor pieces. And so here, there wasn't a change to any of the armor pieces except for the wrist and feet. If you look at the price per Lystrite, all of these are under 4 gold. And these are the 2 that are over 4 gold. So this nerf brings the price of all of these down to about 3 gold a piece. Which means we should be able to look at the weapon crafts and try to figure out how big of a nerf they would need in order to get their price down to 3 gold a piece, if they truly are trying to balance out the price floor. So for the Agi Dagger and the Int Dagger, those are both about 11 gold a piece. So those would get a severe nerf. This is 4 gold a piece, so it would get a light nerf. And these are all 6 to 8 gold a piece, so they would get a medium-sized nerf. And then, if we look over in this column, sure enough, the shield only got 2. The daggers got a 5 flux increase, and all of these weapons got a 3 flux increase. So, medium, light, and heavy nerf. I do think the shield should have only been buffed up 2, and then it would have been fine, but it also would have been the most expensive. So, it's really interesting looking at how all this works out. So that is why I think that this is an intentional, they're trying to rebalance the price floor. I don't think it was the best way to go about it, though. Okay, so let's look at an example, and let's zoom in a little more just for fun. So the vendor price of the cape was 37 gold. And the materials were 5 gold a piece, and it used 1 quantity of the mats. It used 1, so that meant the profit was that minus that times that. Okay, so 32 gold a piece. quantity of the cloth was 4. So that means the price floor, this is an important one, is that divided by that. Okay, let's say we got some cloth. We got a deal on some cloth. So cloth price was 6 gold. So that means the profit per cloth would be 2 gold. Well, the cape uses 4 cloth. So the profit per craft is that times 4. Oh, wait. So the profit per craft is that times that one right there. So you're making 8 gold to craft it. Well, how many can you craft in an hour? Well, there are 30 seconds per hour. There's 3,600 seconds per hour. And the seconds per craft is... it takes 2... The cast time to make the cape is 2 seconds. So that means crafts per hour is 1,800. Realistically, you're looking at like 1,500. But this means the gold per hour of doing this is 1,800 times the profit per craft. And here, let's merge. Let's merge cells. There we go. So let's play around with these numbers. If you got if you farmed up the cloth so it was free, well then your gold per hour would be 60,000 gold. If you got it for half price because the expansion's been out for a long time, so the market's saturated and the cloth is cheap, then it's 30,000 gold a piece. If you get it for 6 gold, then it's 14,000. If you get it for 7 gold, it's 7,000. If you have a deal on the cloth and it's 7.5 gold, and you're like, oh, that's less than 8 gold a piece, you're actually only making 3,000 gold an hour. So you'd totally be better off going out and farming herbs and ore. Like you wouldn't want to spend your time doing this. You'd want to spend your time just going out and farming something because that would be so much better gold than 3,000 an hour. Now, I know everyone has multiple accounts and everyone's like running things like this in the background all the time, but let's ignore that. Let's talk about like what people like the value of time. Okay, so I don't think this is the best way they could have fixed all this. And here we'll talk about it here. It gets get ready. I'm about to dive the hell in. Okay, so pre-nerf gold per hour. How much is the shuffle actually worth? These are the things that Blizzard can directly control. Pre-nerf, it's worth about 60k. 60k gold per hour. Post-nerf, gold per hour. What they did, they changed the mat cost to 7 gold apiece and increased the quantity of mats to 4 rather than 1, and that brought the gold per hour to 15k. Now, what was actually the goal was to bring the price floor down to 2 gold apiece. But here's what was what's actually happening is significantly deeper than that. So the actual cloth of price on the auction house isn't 0 gold. The prices of cloth was generally around 6 gold a piece, which means people were willing to make the actual flip gold per hour pre-nerf was about 15k. 15k per hour. That's how much people were actually making. So now, with 7.2 and 4 gold, now you're losing gold with this. So people won't do it. So the price, those people won't buy the cloth. the supply will increase, and the price of cloth will go from 4 gold to 3 gold to 2 gold, and it'll end up somewhere around 2 gold, which is maybe fine. So with 6 gold prices right now, what if they increased the amount of the cast time for crafting this to 3 seconds or 4 seconds? Let's say 4 seconds, because that's easy. That's just doubling. Well, you wouldn't be making as much gold. You'd be making half as many items you'd be making the same profit per item. The cloth would be worth the same, but you'd only be making half as many per hour. So fewer people would be willing to do that. So the price of cloth would drop from 5 gold, and we know that people's breakpoint is about 15,000 an hour. So the price of cloth would drop down to 4 gold. What if they made it 6 gold a piece? Well, then the price of cloth would drop down to 2 gold. So if they could achieve the same results if they increased the cast time from 2 seconds to 6 seconds. And I think that's neat. What else could they have done? So let's say let's say they did a combination of things. They slightly reduced the vendor cost. The quantity of mats was 2. Keep the mat price the same at 5 gold a piece. The quantity of cloth was 5. And suddenly we've got the same profitability at 2 gold a piece. So, as you can see, that's a whole bunch of stuff that we could change and get the same result on a gold per hour basis without really change. We're dropping the price. You can change all of these things in lots of different ratios and get the same results, but it makes the crafts have different feel and different personalities while maintaining the same price floor, and then having the same approach for each item to maintain the same price floor, or a reasonable price floor for one item that shines. That is a lot of work. And so now I want to just finish up by talking about why I think this is the most important gold making nerf. I mean, realistically, this is whatever. Like, prices are going to be fine. Everything will stable out. We're going to be looking at 10 to 20,000 gold per hour. But Blizzard's just letting us know that, like, whoops, we had it at 60,000 gold per hour. That was a little too much. Let's scale it back some. So, this right here is the important part. The patch notes for December 3rd, 2020. And as we can see right down here, this is why this is a big deal. Professions: increase the cost of the following reagents to 9 gold. Increase the amount of vendor reagents required for crafting Shadowlands armors. Increase this, blah, blah, blah. Everything we've been talking about. So the reason why this is important, at the launch of the alpha, as Shadowlands alpha, the first data mining, we had a skeleton of professions. We knew what we were going to be playing with. We could go in and test it, and Blizzard was including us in the development. Blizzard was also expressly asking for feedback because there was a sticky forum thread all about professions and gold making up on the forums all throughout alpha and beta. So they were involving us in the design. They were asking for feedback. The only piece of that was missing was actually communicating back their reasoning and their decisions. And here, this is a big deal because this is the first time a gold making nerf has been in the patch notes in the past 5 years. The last time I remember a gold making any communication on the reasons, like what their reasons were for designing something, was back in Warlords of Draenor at like a first peak of Blood of Sargeras. That's the last time this has happened. If I'm wrong, feel free to go through all the patch notes. I read them all. So this is a big deal because Blizzard was involving us in the design. They were asking for feedback on the design. And finally, it's not just communication, it's also a conversation. They are talking back at us. They are acknowledging that gold making and professions exist, and that they're saying what they're doing. We don't have a reason here. It would be great if they also explained the reason, but that's fine. That's fine. I'll take what I can get for now. The point is they're thinking about gold making and willing to address it to the public at large. So usually they just reduce the vendor price. Back in Mist of Pandaria, there were shoulder inscription enchants that you could vendor for 129 gold a piece, and that put like a 3 gold price floor on herbs, and that was a little high back then. But they just tanked the vendor value of those items from 130 gold down to like 10 gold, which completely bottomed out the market of green tea leaf forever. And so it's I would love to hear a forum post on why they did this method of nerf rather than mess around with the vendor value or mess around with the actual reagents required or the cast time, or like just I'd love to just hear the reasoning behind all the changes we've seen in professions. This right here gives me hope that we might get that one day. But just rest assured, even if you got burned today, they're thinking about gold making and they're trying to do what's best for gold making, I think. So trust me, I could talk about this for another 2 hours, but I will let y'all get back to your farming, get back to the maw, get back to Torghast, go have a blast in Shadowlands. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Good luck and happy gold making.